Joining us to discuss mothering during COVID-19 are clinical psychologist Camille M. Quamina, author, motivational speaker Akusa Dardine Edwards, mompreneur and media personality Adana Leonce, and counseling psychologist Camille Campbell. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Hey, good morning.
I'm so happy to have you all with me this morning, and happy Mother's Day to any of you who are mothers on the panel. Let me get that out first of all. Camille, I want to start with you. What are some of the psychological effects the lockdown may have on both parents and children, teenagers, particularly at this time?
So Camille Quamina or Camille Campbell?
Camille Quamina.
All right.
Yes, true.
So I think a lot of the psychological effects that we can expect stem really from a couple of main factors. The first one being just the level of uncertainty that we feel. So for some people, it's very difficult to function when we're not sure what's going on, basically.
Yeah.
We need to kind of have a plan and a structure, and we operate best when we know what it is we intend to do and when we're going to do it. And right now, we have this period of uncertainty that's going to be challenging for both mothers and kids, even fathers too, obviously, for everybody basically. In addition to, we can have limitations like pre-existing mental health struggles. So if you are already battling a mental health struggle or battling some sorts of disorder or symptomology of any kind, it can become very difficult to manage that now that we are all quarantined, because even some of our usual coping mechanisms are totally taken away from us. Going for a jog, going to see a movie, going for a catch up with friends over dinner or something like that. Those coping mechanisms have sort of been stripped away, unfortunately, given the circumstances, and that can make things very difficult. Not to mention, just one more factor I'll throw in here, which is the expectation of society. So there is some sort of expectation that we all handle this totally okay and everybody is at peace and we're just kind of moving with it. But people are going to be feeling a range of emotions, and that can be quite challenging also, because you may not feel like that's normal or expected, especially for mothers who have this sort of responsibility to their kids, and they may feel as though to take time for me or to take time to treat with my concerns is tough. It's hard at this moment given the situational circumstances.
So what are some of the issues therefore that may arise, especially for Mother's Day? You know, there are some persons who find that it's very difficult at this time, this weekend. They're very close to their moms. Some persons who may be missing their moms because they passed recently. And, you know, so there's so many issues that may arise, particularly at this weekend, and how can they be resolved? Camille Quamina, I'm still with you. Yeah.
Yes. So I do think that some of the approaches that we can use are just firstly being totally honest with ourselves. I think a lot of times we sort of put ourselves for last, and we just do what we need to do to get it done, to be responsible for the things that we're responsible for, and that's great. And it's good to, you know, consider your responsibilities and put them first and foremost, but self-care is very important. And it starts with just being honest and having an honest conversation with yourself, that this is how I feel and I may need a few moments, and then not judging yourself for needing that, because everybody's different and we all treat with situations in unique ways. So I think that's very much first and foremost, which is just being able to say, yeah, this is difficult for me and this is tough. And then once you're able to get past that first step with no judgment, then you simply do the things that you need to do to make sure that you're okay. Because once you replenish you, then you're able to have, you know, the kids come and get comfort from you, because you've replenished your own levels of comfort and you're able to provide and support other people in the way that you really want to. Versus what we currently do, which is put our own needs last, engage in all our responsibilities, and then somehow feel we're magical superhumans, that we're going to be fine to do that and not take care of ourselves. So I think that's one really important way of starting the process of managing all of those difficult emotions that we may feel, identifying and being okay with what we're feeling, and then taking the necessary steps to treat with it.
I'm going to ask Camille Campbell to weigh in now as we talk about frustrated mothers. the ones that are struggling to maintain peace, and how do you keep the peace among all of this? And I know Camille Quammen has sort of started the conversation there, but Camille Campbell, can you weigh in?
Sure. And I think the conversation needs to go back prior to COVID because, COVID is a situation and a crisis that we find ourselves in. But prior to COVID, there may have been families and especially mothers who
Mm-hmm.
may have been struggling to keep the family together.
Mm-hmm.
There may have been poor communication, lack of empathy, or a lot of conflict, or children just having some behavioral challenges and things like that.
Yeah.
And in the COVID season now, where you may have been able to get an escape where the children would have gone to school at some
Mm-hmm.
time, everyone is home.
Yeah.
So trying to find the peace in the midst of this new crisis or storm, as we put it, could be challenging.
Yeah.
And to take some of the things that Camille Kwamina was talking about, it is true. Um, I think we first need to understand that it's okay to know where you are, and it is also okay to understand the position that you're in now. Seasons last for a certain time. Where you are now, it will not last forever, and it is important for us to understand that.
Yeah.
We don't have to have everything picture perfect.
Mm-hmm.
We
Mm-hmm.
could allow some things to slide. We might be able to understand this is where I'm at the moment. Dealing with conflict even at the home, you're thinking, okay, if we dealt with conflict prior to COVID in a not so healthy way, then the chances are it may have escalated. So how do we deal with conflict now? Um, During COVID, and it is so important as a mother to know yourself and to know your triggers, because what can happen is that we can find ourselves projecting emotional abuse or, a lot of different types of negative emotions onto our children.
Yeah.
So it is important to know your triggers, know when you feel tired, know when you just need to take a break, know when, okay, I could leave the clothes today and just focus on the children.
Mm-hmm.
Um, for homes that may not have had a healthy platform of communication, it's a good place to start. And I think where you are at is a place to start. It could be, you know what, let's set some boundaries in place. Um, Monitor me as I monitor you. So we have that mutual respect because
Mm-hmm.
children work well with mutual respect. So when we are able to come and sit and have a plan, we could now say, okay, well, you know what? I don't like how we may say things in this house. So let's make a plan on how we could move forward. Now, some plans take time. So it means that you have to now be diligent, be persistent, be patient.
Yeah.
And I think oftentimes we as mothers, it could be a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
dealing with a frustrated mother is important to know you, is important to know your triggers, and you set the pace when it comes to your home. So you dictate where you're going. You are the one who is um, creating the atmosphere in your home. So if
Yeah.
you are not at the best place that you need to be, then chances are everything else might start to have cracks and fall apart where
And I
things
want to
happen.
say as well that it's okay to seek help. You have
Yes, it is.
professionals who can assist, like you guys, who can assist. Let me bring Adana into the conversation. Let's talk about finding balance, juggling working from home, mummying, taking care of the home, and everything else. We used to talk about work family balance, but now everything is at home. Yeah, we're working from home, we're taking care of the home. Adana, how do you manage all of what are some of the tips you can give to some of the mummies out there for managing working from home and taking care of the home?
Mm. Even as you stopped on that place of, us professionals, I just want to, even as I am reminded of the words of Paul, and I feel like I want to start with that. It's not that I have already attained it. I have not reached to that place of perfection and perfect balance at all.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, just, a few days ago, I was telling my daughter that, what, I feel like we need a little more balance to our day, and what I found personally to help me, that has helped me significantly. And I think I want to just really encourage mothers in this direction. And both Camille's have kind of weighed in on it, to find balance in ourselves first. For me, within the past few weeks, I've had this consistent time where I'm getting up a little earlier than the rest of my family, my husband and my daughter, and spending some, intimate time with God, and reading and writing and praying and just refreshing me, and refueling and refilling me. And I found that balance in oneself really changes how you come to your environment, and how you bring balance to your home, and
Yes.
how you bring balance to your family, and handle all the hats. Some of us are suddenly teachers, and we have to homeschool,
Yes.
and we're mothers and wives, or girlfriends and sisters and daughters, and all the hats that we're wearing. And I feel like once we are able to achieve and maintain that balance within ourselves first, and someone said it's not selfish. As a matter of fact, if we are um, not taking that time to spiritually and mentally and emotionally recharge and balance ourselves and have that harmony within ourselves,
Yeah.
it's almost impossible to bring that to an environment and to our family and to our homes, and to make a difference in that regard. So I really feel like the balance starts with us.
Well, you.
I've been trying to include exercising, and really looking at my diet, and
Yeah.
maintaining my vitamin intake, and really, somebody mentioned it as well, in terms of mentally being at a stable place, especially if you had certain struggles before, but really just focusing on balancing you out. And of course, that's going to change, and that's why I feel like it's really important that it starts in you, because I mean, even in this season, um, there's so many factors that have varied. So our combination of the components have changed in terms of staying afloat and staying stable. We may need a little more mental care, and a
Yeah.
little more exercise, or a little more of some of the different aspects,
Things that we
but
didn't take,
maintaining that peace within
things that we
ourselves
didn't focus
first.
on before. And you are weighing into something I was going to ask Akuswa, which is how important is self-care? Exactly what you're speaking about at this time for mothers. Is self-care selfish? Because some mothers might think that, I'm being selfish by looking after myself. Is leaving yourself undone a good idea? Following on from what Adana was saying, Akuswa. Hello?
I think everybody touched on how important it is for each one of us to refill ourselves. So self care is essential in this time. And I think for that to happen, all of us, we now have to accept that things are not the way they were before. So self care may look different in this time as well.
What would it look like?
Because we are all at home,
Yeah.
we have to now accept the fact that we are in a new normal and we can't do the things that we would once do. And I think Camille mentioned it. Some of the coping mechanisms that we would use before for self-care are gone. So within ourselves, we now have to accept this is our new reality. And we have to now dig deep and realize that without us refilling ourselves, we can't contribute to the maximum within our environment and within our home. And to keep in mind that this is not a selfish act. This is an essential act in this time.
Yeah.
And I think Adana mentioned it, waking up a little bit earlier. That may be the thing that you have to do in this new time. It may be now that you're at home, you have to learn to set boundaries, and you didn't have to do that before. Before you could probably pick up yourself and go somewhere. But now you have to set boundaries to everyone and have hold yourself accountable and keep those boundaries, which might mean saying to the children, okay, at 4 o'clock, this is everybody's time and this is my time. And keep that promise to yourself. I don't think that coping in this time without self-care is healthy.
Yeah.
Because at some point you will start to feel resentful of the things that you have to do. And I can't remember who said it, but if you are empty, then you cannot give anything. So small things, waking up a little bit earlier, spending some quiet time, setting boundaries where you do one thing that you like for yourself every day would assist you in getting through this period. And I think it will also create a habit for post-COVID, where you would now have a ritual within your home. You would now have boundaries that you set. And I think one of the most important things is doing it minus the guilt.
Well,
The
I was
guilt
going to talk
has to
about the
go.
guilt. Yes, thank you for raising that, because many mothers think that once I'm taking care of myself, I'm not taking care of the children, of the family, of the spouse, of the boyfriend, or whatever. And that guilt factor starts to set in. So I'm happy that you raised that, Akusa.
Yeah, it's very important to know that when you feel guilty for doing something for yourself, it almost demands punishment. So you would do things and have that kind of resentment, and it would attract the punishment, and that punishment might be your own self. You're punishing yourself for seeing about yourself.
Yeah.
So the two things I would stress is acceptance of where you are, and acceptance doesn't mean that you like it. Acceptance just means that this is where I am and this is where I have to make a decision from. And the second thing is no guilt.
Right.
No guilt. And of course, once you accept that there should be no guilt, then the judgment is less.
Yeah, and I'm going to have to leave it there, ladies. But this is a conversation we can keep going on even after Mother's Day, in terms of how women in particular can continue to manage that work-life and family balance, and perhaps we can continue this next week. I want to thank you all for joining me this morning, and once again, happy Mother's Day to those of you who are moms on the panel. I was speaking with Camille M. Kwamina, clinical psychologist. Thank you so much, Camille. Akusa Dardine Edwards, author, motivational speaker. Adana Leons, mompreneur or momtrepreneur. And Camille Campbell, counseling psychologist. Have a wonderful weekend, ladies, and thank you so much. Okay, we're going to take in a few messages and come right back here on the Norm One Show. Don't forget, we have this lovely hamper right next to me. We're going to be starting to show some of those photographs that came in overnight of moms and daughters and moms and sons and so on. Everybody sent in their picture. And at the end of the show, we let you know who's the winner of this lovely hamper, Carrie.
Oh, yes. It's fantastic. It's too bad I can't send in pictures.
No, you can't. No, you can't.